Christmas time is the one time of the year when people most desire to be home, to have a home, to be invited into a home, to see those that they love, to get home. And it was that way for me this year. I spent a couple of weeks this year just before Christmas in Italy, and I got on the bus in Milan next to the Milan Central train station, headed to Milan Linate Airport. And when I got on the bus, I asked the woman sitting in front of me to double check because the bus driver was not there if this was the bus to the Linate airport, and she confirmed that it was. And I said, good, because I'm trying to get home for Christmas and I don't have any desire to spend it here, to spend it. And she said, in Milan. I said, no, away from home. Like I live alone. But I have a dog there who is awesome. And I had not seen him for a couple of weeks, and I kind of missed him. I was getting together with my sister and my parents for Christmas, and although it wasn't going to be all of us, there were going to be people I was going to see for Christmas, and I had to get home first. I'm very grateful that there were no travel hiccups. I opted for the bus instead of the metro because for a couple of days beforehand, I had this nagging feeling in my head, which I can only assume was a prompting of, what if you get stuck in the subway? Because I knew at least if something happens on the bus, I can get out of the bus and I can exercise some other option, get a taxi, use a city bus, streetcar, whatever. I still had options. I wasn't going to be trapped somewhere. The plane left Milan Linate on time. We arrived in Heathrow early, big whoop, and we left Heathrow about 10 minutes late. So I was about 5 minutes late getting home because I backpack when I travel in Europe. I didn't have any checked bags. They didn't care about the chocolate and the magnets and the mugs I was bringing back, so they let me through customs. And I was the first one out of baggage claim and customs, despite the fact that I was in row 45. And tons of people got off the plane before I did. And tons of people got through Border Patrol and Border Security before I did. And so I was possibly one of the first ones to get home. And I was glad to be there. I like to travel. I hate living out of a suitcase. I hate packing up every 2 days and going somewhere else because it's not home, and there's no continuity. There's no comfort. There's none of your stuff. There's no really getting comfortable like there is at home. So what's the purpose of this video other than to tell you about that? It's to tell you about the real purpose of Christmas. We're all familiar with the Christmas story. They all had to go home. Joseph and Mary had to travel to Bethlehem, the land of his birth, so they could be taxed. They were looking for a place to make a home because Mary was about to give birth. And their home turned out to be a manger in basically a barn because there was no room in any of the inns. And of course, they didn't have a house to go to because I don't know if their family wasn't alive anymore, didn't live there either. But there was nowhere for them to go that was home. And the whole purpose of Christ is to help as many of us get home to our Father God as possible. But there are a lot of people out there who have no home, who are home alone, not because their parents left them while they went to France, but because they're home alone because they don't have anybody else. I spent a couple of years in the bishopric of the congregation that I attend and made, I guess, inroads and made a name for myself by visiting what I refer to as the sword of the Lord, the single, widowed, or divorced sword. The group of people who are typically marginalized and ignored because they don't fit the normal narrative of what it means to be a modern person. They don't have families. Some of them did. But obviously, if you've been divorced, your family may not be with you. If you're widowed, some of your family isn't with anyone. And if you've never been married, then you've never had a family. And these are people who kind of sit in the margins of society. A lot of them end up homeless. A lot of them end up with medical problems and drug addictions and legal issues because there is no one to temper them. And I've more than a few times admitted that I don't have a wife to calm me down and have me step down when I get up on my high horse. So it tends to create trouble and create problems. Not that we're problems or troublemakers, but that there is no other no one else to bounce ideas off of, and no one else to pitch in and make your life easier. Not that having somebody will, but if there isn't anybody there, you definitely won't have anyone's help. So at Christmas time and New Year's, there are a lot of people who have no home. Some of them may own houses. Some of them may be living with people that are supposedly family, but they're not. It's not a home. It's a place they store their crap. And then I've referred to my house as my house, not my home. I hate all the realtor ads. We'll help you buy a home. No, you buy a house. It's made a home by virtue of those who are there and share it with you. And sometimes it's friends and neighbors, and that can make it a home. And sometimes it's dogs, and that can make it a home. But one of the most popular secular songs at Christmas time is "I'll Be Home for Christmas." And they made 3 movies about it in the 90s, starring McCauly Culkin, about getting back together with your family at Christmas. It wasn't just about his. In the first one, there's also the old man with the shovel who reconnects with his estranged son and the granddaughter. And there's a homecoming. And that is a wonderful, wonderful image that I really like about Christmas and about getting home. Now, when I originally planned this trip, I was going to originally spend Christmas time in Europe and then come home for New Year's Eve. And I'm so very glad that I didn't, because I didn't have anywhere to go, anything to do, anyone to talk to. I would have been in Bologna, and the place I stayed I didn't like. I don't remember talking to anybody that wasn't to transact business. I might have been able to get food there because there were lots of Bangladeshi people there for some reason. So they probably would have had their shops open because they're not necessarily Christians. But it would have been a very weird day and Christmas Day. And of course, no presents, no family, no dinner. I could have WhatsApped with them, but it would have been away. And one day my parents won't be here, and one day, we won't be able to get together again, and there'll be no going home. But it is one of the things that makes Christmas time so appealing to so many, is the thought of going home. There are people around you who have no home. There are people around you who have no family. There are people around you who are marginalized. And whether it's Christmas time or any other time of the year, one of the things that I think would please Christ the most is if you made yourself part of their home experience, invited them into your home, shared an experience, shared a memory, shared a meal, and made them part of your festivities. My first Christmas in Austria, I was invited over by Herbert Till and his family to their house for the day in Hagenhausruck, Austria. And while they made dinner, I played with the kids. We went out in the back. I remember I have pictures of some of this. I made snowmen with the kids. They'd never done that before. They weren't very old. His mother was there, I remember, and we sang songs and ate a meal and talked about the nativity, because in Austria on Christmas Day they don't do gifts. It's a family day and a day of religious remembrance. And since they're not Catholic, they didn't go to church with the Catholics. They just had a remembrance at their own home. And although I wasn't home for Christmas, I did call my parents. They called me there at his house, and I got to talk to them for half an hour or so. But they made their home mine away from home, because I couldn't be home for Christmas. And I remember them, and I cherish that memory, because he asked for permission for me to come and be there and spend the day with them, because it's against the mission protocols. But I was given permission to do so under exigent circumstances, and I have a lot of good memories. So Herbert, if you ever see this, thanks, or recht herzlichen Dank in your mother tongue. Some of the best Christmases of my life have been about reaching out and helping others come home for Christmas, or have a home for Christmas, or feel home for Christmas, or feel the warmth of home for Christmas, or have something that they didn't have from home for Christmas. And so those are the ones that warm the cockles in my heart the most about coming home. And I'm grateful I was able to get home without any hiccups, without any incidents, on time, basically. 5 minutes late is nothing. It was good to be home. So if you see someone who is in the margins. I know those are the people that Christ went to. He went to the widows and the fatherless, the halt, the maimed, the blind, the leper. He went to those who others would not welcome into their home and made them feel welcome with him. I think that's one of the most important things about Christmas is you have a place, you are loved, and if we want to really follow Jesus, that's the message we can send. That's the best gift that we can give, is send them a piece of home and help them to feel what it's like to be home, to come home, to be welcome home. If you are one of those people, I feel for you. I have spent many a Christmas alone. And in this one case, I will tell you, it does make it better when you try and make it special for someone else, because you can be alone together. And where two or three are gathered in his name, God will come and be in the midst of them. It's really a rather remarkable experience. I hope you got home for Christmas. I hope you have love and joy in your home. And if not, that you make all the efforts you can to make it so in your own family, in your own home. Or when the time comes that you set the terms, if you're too young to make those decisions now, that you're the one who sets the example for a home at Christmas. Godspeed. Take care of yourselves.